And so hear me out, I bought a mold that I previously reviewed and that I hated. I did not like this for Blitzwing in the least. So much so that I offloaded it and sold it to somebody who would appreciate it. It's not that it's bad, it's just I prefer the dollar valuation for the Titan's Return over it. I like that Voyager over what is here a Voyager that's sold for $1. So let's get that out of the way, which might make you question, hey GotBot, why would you pick up Overcharge? Whose name is very appropriate, by the way. There's a very specific reason, and I'll talk about that later. But yes, we're going to take a quick look at Overcharge in the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you are at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell, helps me out a ton, let you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All that's in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And this is, of course, Overcharge. And here's the thing. A lot of people like to take what I say and misunderstand it. For example, we go all the way back to that Studio Series 86 Hot Rod, and everybody thinks I hate the thing. I don't hate the thing. It's just not a Voyager. It's a mediocre deluxe. It's meh. It's okay. Same here. I sold the Blitzwing and kept the Titan's Return because $30 for a Voyager makes a lot more sense to me than $80 for a Voyager. And you can say, yeah, but it's a leader class. It's not. Let's be realistic here. It's not. It's just not. It's a Voyager that they overcharge for. And because we have a Generations Blitzwing, because we have a Titan's Return Blitzwing, we had previous Blitzwings, modern Blitzwings, by which to compare this version to. I get that some people would say, hey, the Legacy, I think it was Evolution, Blitzwing is their Blitzwing. Cool if that's the way that you see things, if you were able to somehow, some way justify the price to you. This guy, same mold, granted I bought it for a little less than retail, as I did with Blitzwing, bought that a little less than retail, and I'm still not comfortable with the price. And granted, we're probably not going to see much in the way of changes to transformation, which I'm not actually going to go through. I'll show all three modes, but we've already done the transformation and I'll talk about it. And granted, there might not be changes to the articulation, though there could be some smoothness added to the articulation. We'll see when we go through it. But the look, of course, here is going to be different, and we have to compare it to what we have available for the character of Overcharge. I have this for a very specific reason, which we'll get to when we come back here. For now, let's head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And so here we have the Legacy United Overcharge, and the name is apt. This is, let's get this caveat out of the way right away. This is a Voyager that was charged as a leader. It's not a leader. Nothing about it will ever make it a leader. If you paid leader, if I paid leader, we got played for dopes. It's as simple as that. It is a Voyager, and I went into detail about that when I looked at the Blitzwing version of this mold. That was in episode 1011, way back in September of 2022. And I didn't score too bad, but I said it doesn't make me happy. And it didn't make me happy because I felt like I was scammed out of a bunch of money for it because it's a Voyager. It's smaller than the Titan's Return, it's smaller than the Generations, both of which are Voyagers, and both of which I infinitely prefer. Now, that doesn't mean this is bad, and that doesn't mean the Overcharge use of it is bad. It doesn't even mean the Blitzwing was bad. It just means it's not leader class, and none of us should have paid a leader class price for it. In this case, it's a little bit different because this guy is having to go compared to only one previous version of himself, that being the G1 Blitzwing mold. There hasn't been a Generations, there hasn't been a Titan's Return iteration of Overcharge. This is the box for the guy. We can see the green tank down here with those weird hand things again. Over here, a close-up of Overcharge in robot mode, and the head there Over here, your typical 40th anniversary Legacy United artwork, and on the back, of course, all of the product images that you would expect to see. Oh, we've got a giant set of instructions that show all 3 modes and where everything goes. If you know Blitzwing, you know this. And I figured we would be best off starting out in his most terrible mode. This is the plane mode. This fails miserably as a plane. No doubt about it. These gauntlet energon hand things are ridiculous on the back of this. They look preposterous. I can't stand them. They should have left these out and charged this as a Voyager. Let's take these off. We'll see them again later, unfortunately. And we're going to lay them to the side. To put them in, all you do is you flip down the toes, or the heels, whatever it is. And there's peg holes there, and there are just 5mm pegs on the actual gauntlet that go into the peg holes. So for now, I guess, if you want, you can close those up to give you the thrusters on the back. Okay, so fine, dandy, you have this. I will also note that pegging the tank pieces in, it pegs in kind of here on the back. There's 2 rectangular pegs under here that go into slots. It also pegs here on the front somewhere, under right here. There's supposed to be a slot and a peg connection here. This one does not like to stay pegged in. This one stays pegged in okay. All of the bottom of this stays pegged in better on Overcharge than it did on Blitzwing. But, that being said, really, the problem is, all of this is just on a hinge. It's not engineered well. It's not a complex transformation. It's just, let's take all the tank stuff, put it on a hinge, and put it down bottom. It's lazy, and I don't like it. That said, if we look at the top of the plane, though the legs just came apart, the top of the plane is fine, I guess. Whereas with Blitzwing, I did not like that the yellow did not continue up on the little wings here. I'm okay with it on Overcharge because he didn't have an animation model anyway, right? He's been in, I guess the, like, Legends comic from Japan where he meets, like, his future self, being Blitzwing, who says, like, be your own bot. He's also been featured in, like, the IDW comics, but, like, nothing big. He was just part of the Triorian Guard, like, nothing, you know, nothing major. And I think it was, like, in Beast Wars Uprising, but, like, he's pretty fringe. He had a release as a collector's edition, which is basically using his Diaclone coloration. It was an eHobby version, right? An eHobby exclusive. This came out in 2005. So it's the G1 mold released in 2005 in the Diaclone colors, if that makes sense. You know, it is what it is. I will be getting rid, personally, of the Decepticon logos here because Overcharges are actually Quintesson creations. They are like a model that they make that they sell, like Sharkticons, like Alicons, like, I'm going to guess, like Decius drones, right? And in G1 cartoon continuity, the nods to this guy would be in the Season 3 opening when you see a string of Blitzwings. They're supposed to be Overcharges. And Blitzwing himself, his recognition that, like, I know these creatures talking about the Quintessons. It's because the way the story was supposed to go, we would have found out that he was once an Overcharge or, like, gained his own identity, right? So, like, that's where the nods sort of come in. You could troop build this to add to your Quintesson forces. Again, like I said, I'm getting rid of any Decepticon logos. In fact, the eHobby one came with a wealth of logos. It came with, like, Autobot, Decepticon, Quintesson. It came with 3 or 4 others because this model could be sold to the highest bidder, right? And then I guess you would stick on whatever logo you want. Here, it's just Decepticon, even though he's not really a Decepticon. Hope that makes sense. I have this because I want him to be my general for my Decius drones. I only have 2, but, like, he can be, like, the leader of those 2 drones, right? Presumably of the drone army. We do have a couple of accessories here, of course. 2 of these blasters on cool. I think they're the same ones that came with Blitzwing, and I think they were purple there. But I'm cool with them being gray here, cast that way, no problem. We're going to take those off for now. And down here we have the same sword that came with Blitzwing. Yes, it's still soft, rubbery plastic. This time, instead of being silver, It's done in blue, and then the outer part of the blade here is a metallic-y blue. Okay, I guess it's that sword. Luckily this time, unlike with Blitzwing, it was in a piece of cardboard that kept it from losing its shape. I guess that's a good call. In terms of the plane, like I said, I don't like this at all. I think that this is, I get that they always say like, one of the modes suffers, but this is a failure. Come on, this is a later price. You want to use the whole engineering thing as a justification, then it should have been engineered well. From the top though, like that looks great. I know we can't see, I guess I should turn it this way. Like that looks great, honestly. It's just too bad that the rest of it doesn't. Okay, I'm not doing the transformation because we already saw it with Blitzwing. And being a triple changer, it's not like we can do it in two different directions really, because there are three. So I'm just gonna go from this terrible plane mode to the more successful tank mode indeed. It rolls like a champion, which is fine. There are like little rollers down here, right? This piece, of course, still sticks out too far, as we know. And shout out to Ninja Bill, because he really kind of talked about this a lot. This, though it's depicted as the front of the tank, by rights, the intention was for this to be the front of the tank, and I think in Diaclone it is, and this is the rear of the tank. But nevertheless, this is kind of what we have now, and the kind of bend here would sort of indicate that this is the front of the tank, right or wrong. This can still go up and down. Of course, it can go all the way around. Another Decepticon logo here I'm going to have to get rid of, which is a bit of a nuisance. Unlike Blitzwing, this one has the red here instead of blue. I would have preferred, if anything was going to have a blue on it, that it would be this version with the blue, because Blitzwing should have the red. Or maybe Blitzwing had red and it was supposed to be blue. I don't really remember the coloration inaccuracy on Blitzwing now. But we don't have to really worry about that here. Nice green tank. The gray here looks pretty cool. I don't have any problems with this tank. Now, with his other gear on him, I suppose, he looks like this. I mean, I don't know. Do you think this looks better? Like, I don't think the sword helps. I don't think having these on the side help. I certainly don't think these help. I'm fine with this and these on the side. Like, I can get past that. That's okay. But this and this is just awful, especially when you turn the tank. I get it. All of these fingertips are supposed to be extra blasters and stuff because he's such like a, you know, strong, powerful berserker type. Like, you can almost, you know, if you see overcharges coming, you better run in the other direction. Like, that's the reputation that this body type has. So I guess it matches better here than I figured it did with Blitzwing, but I don't like these at all. I don't really think they add value. But there's the tank in both modes. Now, again, I'm not going to do the transformation, but we're going to go to his final mode, which of course is his robot mode, and that looks like this. And yes, indeed, here is the third and final iteration mode, whatever you want to call it, for this guy. And I mean, it obviously looks like a Blitzwing. The head, I think, might be a slight remold, though it still has the visor line in the eye. These things here, I mean, they limit the range of motion on the elbow, but to put them on, all you're doing is taking the fist and turning it to the side. And when you do so, there's a peg in right here that goes into the fist. So we're just going to lay that aside for now because I don't like them and I don't think that they really add anything of value. But that's just me. Maybe you do. In terms of his blasters, you can put it on his arm on the side, or, of course, naturally, I'll turn that fist the right way, it can go in his fist, no problem. Similarly, if you wanted both of those blasters, say, on his arm, and want him, like, wielding his sword, that can go there. Or, of course, it can go pegged in back here, or here, or here, as can the blasters, right? So, that's cool. Let's talk about scores for this guy. So, the Blitzwing, I gave a 7 to the transformation to. I still think it's a 7 here. I think that there are things about it where the tolerances could have been a bit better. Notably, the way the wing folds around the leg and the knee. The knee got to be really, like, perfect for the wing to fold in. As well, I wish that the tank backpack section, when you're in plane mode, the 4 connection points, I wish that they lined up a bit easier than what they do. I just find it a bit cumbersome, I'm not going to lie. For tank mode, I think he's pretty strong. For robot mode, it's all right. I will say this. The green on the inside here does not bother me nearly as much as the beige on the inside of the arm of Blitzwing. I wanted that panel on Blitzwing to be purple. I really, really did, and the beige really kind of ruined the look of Blitzwing for me. So the transformation was a 7. I still think it's a 7. I don't think this is any worse. I don't see any mold degradation, but I don't think it's any better. In terms of the articulation, I gave that a 9. The articulation for this guy, left and right on the head, look up, and some looking down. We can bring the arms all the way out to the side, right? Full T-pose, no problem. Elbow to slightly over 90 degrees, elbow swivel, wrist rotation. For the forward motion on the arm, you have this panel here, but you bring the arm forward, you're not going to get a full 90-degree bend up. Just not possible. I guess you're going to get what you need, but that's a little bit too bad. Waist all the way. You can go all the way around, so that's nice. Legs can kick forward. They're not going back very much because of the back skirt, and you can't really move the back skirt, but you get just a little bit of motion there. Thigh swivel, knee to 90 degrees, and I like that the kneecap is all molded in. Ankle tilt, nice strong ankle tilt. Toes, heel. Heel can certainly bend. Toes I thought could too, but to get the toes to bend, you'd have to unpeg the wing. If the wing is pegged in on the side, then the toes won't bend. So that's up to you. 2 hip skirt pieces, they move out of the way. And I guess that's about it for the articulation. He stands quite well, so I gave the articulation a 9. I still think it's a 9. So up to the look of the guy, him and Blitzwing score the same. 7 for the transformation, a 9 for the articulation. Overall, an 8. It's a strong enough mold. In terms of looking like Overcharge, this coloration is very explicitly his like box art coloration. The head with the blue and the red visor, even the Decepticon logo is on the box art. His sword should be silver, not blue, but that's fine. That's only an accessory. His blaster being gray, that's fine. His body being gray. His hips being gray as well. I do like the silver highlights, that's nice. Down on his I guess wings here, while they're all painted gray, on the outside we should have a kind of a red and yellow detail. I'm okay that that's not there. Decepticon logos here on the side shouldn't be there, but again, that's fine. You can do what you like with it. The green hair is fine. The gray hair is fine. Even on his chest, the red little triangles, downward facing triangles, that's fine. The reason I say it's box art over, say, the 2005 G1 toy version is because his pelvis is green, his thighs are green like on the box art, but that toy had a pelvis and thighs that were black. Even the gray line here is accurate, so I like that. Honestly, in terms of looks for the guy, right down to his blue nose cone in jet mode, honestly, I'm going to have to give it 9.5. I'm going to say 9.5. I mean, maybe there's a couple of things I'm missing, so I'm not going to quite give it a 10. But I'm going to say 9.5 for an overcharge. We were getting an 8, a 9.5. This guy overall is probably a solid 9, maybe a 9.25, right? But I'm going to say a solid 9. And that's the thing. This is a good Voyager. This is a really, really good Voyager. But it's a Voyager. It's not a leader class. It has never been, and it's never going to be a leader class. I paid a little less. I still feel like I was ripped off. But because Blitzwing had 2 other generations versions to compare to, I like that less. In this case, the only thing Overcharge had to accomplish was being better than the G1 mold. And in terms of transformation and articulation, he does that while retaining a successful look for the character. Overall score is going to be a 9, with the caveat that Overcharge is definitely overcharged. And here we are once again, and here he is. So by now you probably realize why I got him. I got him because he's going to be kind of a general for the Decius drones in my Quintesson forces. By rights, he is a Quintesson mass-produced and sold body type. In fact, it has been somewhat established number of times that Blitzwing was once an overcharge who, you know, kind of gained his own personality, his own attitude, changed his coloration. The evidence for this is often cited as the Season 3 intro where you see like what looks like a line of Blitzwings, and apparently they're all supposed to be overcharges. As well, in Five Faces of Darkness, when Blitzwing, it seems to somewhat be familiar. I somehow know these creatures. The Quintessons, it's because he was once an overcharge and kind of blocked out, I guess, the trauma of his past. For me, this is one of those characters that, you know what, you could troop build this, but that'd be an expensive troop builder. However, I'm going to remove whatever Decepticon logos are on him, and I'm going to squarely make him a Quintesson Force representative. He will probably be my strongest of the Quintesson forces, since these berserkers are known to be very strong. I have kind of a leader, if you will, for the Alicons, by way of the 4-pack of troop builders. I have a leader for my Sharkticons by way of the Pit of Judgment Na, that differently colored version of Na. And now, for the couple of Decius drones that I now have kind of a leader for them. I like that. Kind of stronger Quintesson forces. Yes, they can certainly rise up now and probably become a threat to both the Autobots and the Decepticons. That's why I got this. I would never get a second one. And honestly, my advice is, like it was with Blitzwing, it's an okay mold. It's not the best. Certainly, if you want it and you like it, get it, but I would definitely advise that you wait for a sale. It's not that it's bad, it's just that it's an overcharge. See what I did there? I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you are at it, hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel, and please, don't forget, not for a moment, not for a second, that you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres or the old fashioned way, right here inside the videos.